human trafficking is. What is human trafficking? Interestingly, when I went to one of the discussion forums and when I talked about, when subject was being introduced or when people knew that there was a session on trafficking, they literally thought it's about vehicles trafficking. They thought it's about road transport or car traffic jam and all of that. So just curious to know, what are your thoughts on what is human trafficking?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Preeti.
Hi, Preeti. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So, human trafficking is like illegally transporting people to other places, and it's like selling them without their willing or without their willingness, and it's like a business where people involved in um, um, selling people, young women, girls, children, to other countries maybe, and in the name of giving them job, but they divert them to into prostitution. Transporting illegally people to other places, that is
Yes,
I
thank you
think
so
this.
much, Preeti. I think you have put in nutshell of all my discussion today. Yes, I really liked some of the pointers that you mentioned about willing, choice, and not without their own permission. Yes, we will look into it. Any other thoughts? Okay, so let's move on. As Preeti rightly said, we will see the definition in a bit, but I want you to picture this with me. There are a lot of us who think human trafficking is by choice. Now, looking at this picture, you know, let's look at this first picture. I hope you're able to see my pointer. Okay. Look at this first
Yes, sir.
picture.
Yes.
Yeah. How old do you think she looks? Any random guesses? Some say she's 12, some say she's 15, some say she's 18. However, does she look like a teenager below 18 years? Now, let's go through the phases that she's gone through. Look at the transformation that she has gone through. Now, when it comes to the last picture, how does she look? For me, she looks malnourished. She looks very pale. She looks unhealthy. She looks lost. There's no happiness. There is no sharpness. There is no vibrance of a teenager in her. So many of us, when we think human trafficking is by choice, now help me understand, which person on this planet Earth wants to be in this position where they are pale, where they're unhealthy, where they're not happy, where they do not have control over their own body or over their lives. Which one of us wants to be in that position? So that's a thought we will be riding through this discussion. And I want all of you to think through and have this as a food for thought. So by definition, UN has given us a definition on how human trafficking happens. Very simple, like Preeti said, trafficking of people, transporting of people without their own choice, which is very important. So it involves recruitment, it involves harboring, right? It involves violence, coercion, deception, okay? And this is against their will. Very, very important, against their will. And over here, in a simplified definition, when you look at it, it's enslaving of people with no way out. It's like, if you enter a puzzle or if you enter a garden, there is entry and there is also exit. But in the whole gamut of human trafficking, once you enter, the exit is impossible. It's mostly not there. But even if it's there, it's after many years or after so much of toil that somebody gets this, right? Look at this. As we discussed, there is an act, okay? There is a means and there is purpose. What is act? Like any other organization, be it like a office, corporate office, or be it like a college, what do? We do admissions, right? We do recruitment, right? We travel, we pick up all the luggage once we are admitted in a college, and then we pick up all the luggage and we go station at that college or nearby college to study or to pursue the course. Similarly, in the issue of human trafficking, in the gamut of human trafficking, there is act, there is identification of people, identification of vulnerable people, identification of potential victims. Now, any guesses on how much time does a trafficker take to identify a victim? How much time does a trafficker take to identify a potential victim? 27 seconds. 27 seconds, less than a minute. A trafficker is equipped enough. He is talented enough in identifying who a potential victim can be. 27 seconds. Think about it. So once they're identified, they are befriended, then they are given an extreme trust. Now, what do they identify? Looking at a person, they identify what is this person's need. Is this person in need of love? Is this in person of need of parental care? Is this person in need of money? What does this person need? They identify in 27 seconds. Now they recruit them, okay? Then they transport them from point A to point B. Once they're transported, they're stationed at one place. During that harboring of that person at that one place, there is a lot of threat, there is emotional trauma, there is coercion, there is force, there is violence, there is abuse, there is rape. All of this is to tame that person to fulfill their purpose. Like, how do you tame a wild horse into a domestic horse? Or how do you tame a wild horse into a riding horse? Similarly, there is a taming process that every person that is trafficked goes through. Once they are tamed, that's when their purpose, whether this person is for organ harvesting, whether this person is for bar dancing, whether this person is for prostituting herself, or what is this person for? They place them in that destination. This is the whole cycle of how human trafficking happens. Now, what are some of the statistics? Very interesting. Did you know that every 8 minutes there is a girl child that is being missing? According to Indian government, okay, every 8 minutes there is a girl child that is missing. Then help me understand how many girl childs are missing in 1 hour. While we finish this discussion, how many girl childs are missing? COVID times can be a little different. Maybe we can subsidize it by 50%, not completely, because there have been issues of rape, there have been issues of missing cases, even at this time of pandemic. However, right, every 8 minutes there is a girl child that's missing. So in a day span, how many girl childs are missing? Think about it. Now, what does other statistics say? 80% of human trafficking is for sexual exploitation. And the rest is for bonded labor, is for organ harvesting, and there are other kinds. We will look into it in a bit. Number of crimes, 65% only that are reported. Please underline that, only that are reported. Most of these cases are never reported. We will see that in a bit. Now, from 2009 to 2013, do you know how many or how much percentage of human trafficking or trafficking of people or sexual exploitation has increased? Not 100%, not 50%, 200%. It is 416% just in a span of 5 years. Now, people say women are coming into the field of prostitution or selling themselves by their own choice. Ration this with me. Do you think this inflation happened just because there is supply? Just because somebody gives you a free iPhone, do you think you will buy it? If it doesn't have a calling facility, it doesn't have a Wi-Fi facility, do you think you will buy it? Don't we know that demand gives rise to supply? Demand and supply go hand in hand. Isn't that the same case even in the issue of trafficking? And that's why we notice 416% of increase just in a span of 5 years. Wish our economy's GDP grows like this. However, most of the human trafficking happens for international requirements. Most of our women are transported to Dubai, or most of the women are transported to US, UK. That's what we think. No. But look at what is the statistics of National Human Rights Commission of India says. Only 10% of them are transported. That means 90% of them are for domestic use. 90% of human trafficking cases are for domestic consumption. That means our people around us are using. Other statistics by Global Slavery Index in 2016, what does it say? 14.3 million people are into modern day slavery. Gone are the days when temple prostitution happened, or gone are the days when there is this Devadasa system. Gone are the traditional ways of recruiting people. With the technology, human trafficking has also evolved. They are the highly professional people. So that's why we got to underline it is modern day slavery on the name of job, on the name of film offers, on the name of better future, on the name of urbanization. Modern day slavery. These are other statistics. Now, what does this say? In India, there is a source state and there is a destination state. Unfortunately, Andhra, Telangana are the highly source states for human trafficking, especially domestic and sexual exploitation. Look at all of these states. Now, when a girl child, okay, or when a woman or a man or boy, gone are the days when only girls were in demand. Now even boys, young boys are in demand. Even young boys are being traded left, right, and center for various kinds of exploitation. So it's no more a battle of gender. It's no more a battle of protecting a girl child. Beti bachao, beti padhao. No. It's about a child. Because even our young boys are at very high risk. However, right from a state that this person or this girl or a woman is trafficked, they are transported to at least 4 different states away from this source state, Why? Different language, different attire, different tradition, different culture, no friends. Now imagine, most of these people that are trafficked are either illiterates or semi-illiterates. So they are not well connected like us. They would not have friends in Delhi. Somebody from Andhra would not have friend in Delhi, right? That's why they go way beyond their region so that they will not be able to come back. And our southern states do not have Hindi as the major. We do not speak Hindi. So when you're put in Hindi, what do you in a Hindi speaking state? What do you do? Source state to destination, way beyond. Now, look at this. These are the number of cases that are trafficked. How many were rescued? Right? And look at this. How many cases were registered? At least the number of cases that are trafficked, we are able to identify. But the cases that came into limelight or cases that are registered is way too minimal. That means out of 100 cases that are being trafficked, not even 10% of them are being registered. Why? Mafia. There are a very handful of Telugu movies that talked about trafficking. I can't recall all of their names, but there is one that was done. I think Mahesh Babu had a movie, Ravi Teja had a movie. Maybe I should put them handy, but yeah, whatever is telecasted or whatever is shot or shown in the Telugu movies are absolutely true. Trafficking exists. And the cases are never registered or very minimal cases are registered. Now, the risk of human trafficking is way too low. Why? Different language, no people around, no influence, so you can't go and complain. You can't. I from a middle class or lower and backward class, I can't go to the police and say, oh, my girl child is missing, my girl child is trafficked into sexual exploitation. No, taboo. Even though parents transport them out of ignorance, they would not go and reclaim that child. Why? Taboo. Societal acceptance. We don't get accepted. Hence, the profit is way too high. I forgot to mention this. Human trafficking is the world's second largest organized crime. Yeah, it is an organized crime. What is the first largest organized crime? Arms and drugs. When I say arms, it is pistols, weapons, and drugs. And the second one is human trafficking. And you know what is India's contribution to human trafficking? $32 billion just from India. $32 billion. That would have saved COVID situation. However, now what are different kinds of trafficking? As all of you know, prostitution, people pushed into prostitution. There is pornography. Oh, really? I didn't know this. Yeah, we don't know that pornography is directly linked to human trafficking. Why? What happens when you watch a television show? What happens? What happens when a particular television show has a lot of viewership? Demand for that increases. What happens when the demand increases? The number of episodes increase or the sequels increase. So is pornography. Because I am watching porn video, the demand for that porn video or the demand for such kind of porn videos increase. Hence, human trafficking increases. Hence, trafficking of women, trafficking of boys, trafficking of men increases to act into this movies. Friends, I'm a social worker. I take this liberty to talk about pornography. Have you ever noticed a KFC burger advertisement? When you watch the advertisement, KFC burger looks so huge. It looks, oh my God, I think I'll my whole, it can be my lunch, right? But when you go and order a KFC burger, you're like super excited, you go order a KFC burger. How does it look? so tiny, not even in the shape of our biscuits, right? I think our dark fantasy biscuit looks much bigger than, the actual burger. So is pornography. I know marriages that are being shattered just because husband is addicted to pornography. Why? Because he is in search of that feel. He's in search of that posture or that movement that he has seen in the pornography video. Now, when he comes to his wife, he doesn't relish that feel. So what happens? He goes after women. He tries one woman, maybe goes to another woman. He is in that pursuit of that feeling that is never ever available, that is never true in first place. Pornography, a lot of us think it is passive. Oh, it is, I am just watching it, there is no harm. But read through the statistics, it has a lot of impact on your mind. It comes like a thought, habitates into your mind, and then it becomes your life. The way you look at a woman, the way you talk, how you perceive your relationships, how you perceive your marriage, has a lot of impact, friends. That being the second, bride trafficking. Dowry system is, yeah, one aspect of it, but the ulta of dowry system is you go to a place, you buy, you pay money, and then you purchase a wife. North Indian states where female feticide happened, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, female child, even if she was conceived or even if she is born, they're tortured, killed. They couldn't see the day. Now what happened? The gender ratio of men are so high, whereas the females there's a huge difference. Now what do? They have to get married. They have to fulfill their desires. They have to run their family reign. What do? They come into areas where female ratio is high. Example, Andhra, Telangana, where females ratio is high. They come, they give money, they purchase, they marry this girl, and they go back to their own states. Now, does she live like a wife? No. She's like a doormat, either doing domestic labor or just bearing children and nothing else. Bride trafficking exists even today, along with child marriages. Very surprisingly, I think Telangana noted at least 200 child marriages just in the span of 3 months. I think with COVID, we are going back that cycle of where we were post pre-independence. Something for us all to think about. Commercial abuse of children. If you ask any engineering student or any student, what is your one destination city that you want to visit, is Goa. But do you know what happens in Goa? Why do people want to go to Goa? Freely, I mean, not free, but subsidized, or, they want to enjoy liquor, right? They want to enjoy drinking, beaches, and women, and drugs. So in Goa, everything is available, and you're away from your home, and that's why they want to run to Goa. But do you know, on the beaches of Goa, there is abuse of children that happen. Foreigners come, book a boy, especially boy child, book a boy for a month or for a week in exchange of some goods, either iPhone, iPods, or shoes. They exchange, and then they spend that time with that boy. Commercial abuse of children. And then massage parlors, as I was saying, it's no more traditional houses where prostitution is being practiced like in a brothel. No, in Hyderabad there are cities or towns where on the name of massage, everything else is taken care. You pay 500, one kind of a job, you pay 1,000, another kind of a job, it's all taken care. Massage parlors, hostels, clubs, brothels, escort services, male escort services. Internet dating, exotic dance clubs. This is another kind. All this formulated over here. And importantly, forced labor. It can be domestic labor, it can be agricultural labor, it can be or brick labor, factories, forced labor. Restaurants. Do you notice the moment you want to order a Zomato, you want that order to be done in 10-15 minutes. But think of how much do this person earn. And most of the Zomato, Swiggy delivery boys, they spend at least 24 hours or 18 hours just in doing delivery. Isn't that modern day slavery? Organ harvesting. COVID is expected that organ harvesting is going to increase. We will see to it in a bit. These are the different kinds of trafficking. Now, who traffics them? What do we think? Oh, it is only strangers. People that do not know them kind of abuse them, or people that do not know them kind of traffic them. No, look at this. 36% is done by immediate family members, parents out of ignorance. 27% on the name of love, boyfriends. Somebody sends you a Facebook friend request, you accept them, you talk to them, share your life with them, and then he builds such exclusive trust on you. Then you decide to meet one day, you're shocked by looking at that person. And then however, okay, you fall in love, and then he says, okay, let's get married, you elope. That's a gone case. On the name of boyfriends. Friends. How much percentage is strangers? Only 9%. Think about it. Only 9%. That means traffickers are there right around us within our own circle. How strange that is. As I said, all walks of your life, right from the moment you step out of your home to a place that you reach, everywhere people are there. Either a coconut seller or a flower seller or a rickshaw wala. I know of a case in Machilipatnam where a girl child, she was a teenager, below 18 years, minor. She fought with her parents, and then she just went away from home, saying that, okay, I'm not going to come back. So this girl child was waiting for her. She was waiting on a bus stop. So in the morning when she went away and when she was there, a rickshaw wala saw her. Okay, maybe she's waiting for a school pass or something, and then he went away. In the evening, when he came back on the same route at 6 o'clock, he again saw her. Then it's like, okay. So he befriended her, went and asked her, what happened? Why are you here? What are you doing? So she said the whole story, I am away because I fought with my parents. I don't want to go back home, all of that. He's like, okay, fine, don't worry. He gives a lot of assurance. And then he says, okay, come with me. She agrees. She goes with him. Then he introduces another auntie. He says, okay, this auntie is a friend of mine. She's going to give you dinner. Say, okay, they ate dinner. And she said, okay, go sleep with her in her house. Because she's a lady, it's safe and all of that. I said, okay, fine. Only when she woke up the next day morning, she realized she was in a train being transported to Mumbai. Just in a span of seconds, or very momentary, trafficking happens. Like this, there are so many women, so many people that are trafficked. Another example, talking about Facebook love, social media love, we don't find, most of us don't have real friends, but we have virtual friends. How many thousands of virtual friends? Such incident where the wife and husband were not having a good relationship, so she sought for friends in Facebook. She made a friend with somebody, they were chatting, they were very excited. He built extreme trust upon her. One day she eloped from home. She ran away from home with all of the money. Now this guy, He was so happy, he took her and sold her off. Took away our money, took away the jewelry and sold her off. But thankfully, with the help of police, they could find her. But it's one of an incident. Mother and 3 daughters, right from Bihar, they were trafficked to Uttar Pradesh for dance bar. They were trafficked. Somehow with the help of police, they were rescued again. YouTube blackmails, sexting, video sexting. All of us, boyfriend calls, boyfriend says, oh, I miss you, baby. Can you send me a picture? Okay. First day, you will send a face picture. Second day, you will send a complete picture. Third day, you will send topless picture. Fourth day, you will send pura, naked picture. What happens? Those pictures don't just limit to himself, but he maybe shows it to his friends. If not to his friends, maybe he uploads on YouTube, he uploads on porn sites. If not your boyfriend or girlfriend, some person during this transaction, when they are on cloud, do you understand that all of these pictures are on the cloud or on internet, and everybody or anybody that with the little tactics can use them? They use it. They put it on porn sites. They morph it and put it on the porn sites. You wouldn't know. That's how this one of the case has happened. Important aspect: emotional blackmail. Blackmailing you for money, blackmailing you by abusing you, blackmailing you by threatening with your pictures. In a relationship, oh, you don't love me? Okay, I'll die. You want to leave me? Okay, I'll jump from this building. It happens, right, in our relationships. Right with us, it happens. Blackmailing you for your own data. I'll give you another incident, okay? This happened in the early 2019 year. So there was a guy, he was newly married, or it has been 2 years that he was married. His wife was into morning shift. He was into night shift. So what happened? The interaction between the wife and husband were very minimal because hardly get time to see each other. So this guy in the morning, he was very, very empty. He was feeling very lonely. So what did he do? He took a newspaper, all of you know classifieds column, picked up the classifieds column, marked all the girls numbers there, okay, rang them up. Hello, I'm calling you from a hotel, so and so hotel. Are you looking for a job? On the other person, yes, I'm looking for a job. Okay, we have a requirement for a receptionist. Would you like to apply? Yes. If you want to apply, send your resume. They send the resume. Calls. Your profile is shortlisted. Can you send us your picture? They send a normal picture. He calls back and says, oh, no, not a normal picture. Our management is very keen on the structure of the woman. So can you send us a naked picture? So whole body naked picture. Okay. So out of so many months, one girl happened to register a case. And then when the police kind of arrested him, confiscated his laptop, and they opened and saw, how many pictures they've seen. Any guesses? 100, 200. They saw 600 different folders. That means 600 different girls' pictures. What nonsense. That means 600 girls were dumb. 600 girls chose to be silent. 600 girls didn't know what to do and they gave in. No, all the time we are shoved, we are hushed, saying don't talk, don't complain, don't raise your voice. This is what happens. And those 600 girls are just not from Andhra or Telangana. They're from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, all kinds of girls. Imagine if the first girl that he approached, if she could say no, if she could complain, if she would have rejected, do you think 600 girls' lives would have been at stake? Think about it. Now, very interesting aspect. What is happening during COVID times? How is life during COVID times? How are we spending our times during COVID? What do? We resort to playing games, right? Most of our time. This resort to binge watching, continuous watching of episodes, okay? The resort to watching pornography. You know how strange it is? In India, during COVID, there have been an exponential increase of child pornography. Child pornography. Other instances of domestic abuse either by the mother or for the children. Online Facebook challenges, Sari challenge, friends challenge. What are we doing? We're just uploading our pictures. And we are becoming vulnerable. We are making ourselves vulnerable by uploading our pictures. And another important thing, sexting. Either through chats or video sexting. Not realizing that our body is online. And the time that we spend on social media, we update what are we doing, what are we eating, what are we wearing, how are we spending our day. All our information is on cloud. And marginalized people, children are forced to beg. Children are forced to go meal after meal. Wherever there is free food distribution, they're asked to go to pick up those meals. Why? They don't have money. They can't afford. What do? Push them into begging. Another important thing, debt financing or money lending. I don't have money. What do? I lend money. Now, do you know all of these contribute to current day recruitment for human trafficking? All of these. All your information is online, vulnerable. That's how people traffic. Now, how does exploitation during COVID times happen? All of this. During COVID or after post-COVID or post-lockdown, all of these are going to increase. Sexual exploitation, bride trafficking, bonded laborers. You know, how does bonded laboring happen? Marginalized community people, somebody gives them money. They lend money. 3 months, after 3 months, 4 months, they don't have a means to repay the money. So what do they say? Okay, send your wife, send your daughter, send your child for labor work. That's how they're trafficked. Domestic help. Domestic help is like a huge need these days. Because, high income people don't have time. They have to manage their household. They have to manage their family. They have to manage their career or their business. Don't have time. It's going to increase. Now, how is it different? Sorry. How is it different for children? Child labor, child marriages, selling of a baby, organ harvesting, kidnapping. All of these are going to increase during and post-COVID times. Now, you may ask me, why does somebody give in? Why can't they just run away? Why can't they do it? Because trafficker has details of their family. So there is a threat. They're emotional blackmail. If you run away, if you don't serve for me, I'm going to kill your mother. I'm going to kill your son. Debt bondage, they take money and they have to repay that money. They don't have a source to repay that money. Isolation, they're alone. Loneliness, lost husband, lost mother, father, lost something. Emotional attachment, because during this time, they get emotionally attached to that boy or to that lady. They don't want to leave. And importantly, belief. What are they told? Walking in the streets of Sonagachi. Okay. Sonagachi is the, it's very irony of how India operates, right? I keep thinking of this. at one end, we have so many goddesses, right? There is no other nation like India which has so many goddesses. So we worship them. We offer pujas. Round the clock, whatever pujas we do, especially in Andhra, are for goddesses. Okay, we offer pujas. When we come home, what happens? We abuse the same women, not knowing these two women are the same. These two women are Shakti. We don't give this women at our home the same honor, same respect that we give in the temple. No balance. Okay, in the same country where there are huge number of women goddesses, in the same country that is of high population, country that is of high natural resources, country that has high youth, youngsters in it, what is it great for, or what is its greatest achievement? Asia's second largest red light area is in India. Asia's second largest red light area. Where is it? West Bengal. What is the name called? Sonagachi. Walking into the streets of Sonagachi, one of the ladies, she was telling me, why are you here? What is happening? When I question her all of that, she's like, we are told just because we women are here in the brothels or in the red light area, women out there in the society are safe. Do you think that is right? Are the women on the street safe just because somebody is in the brothel, or just because somebody is in the red light area, just because somebody is trying to satisfy men's desires? Aren't rapes still happening? Didn't rape happen even during pandemic or lockdown time? Yes. Rapes by neighbor, rape on the small child did happen. I keep blown away by these truths. Lot of false belief is reiterated into their minds, saying that you are good for this. They are told time and again, your birth's purpose is to prostitute yourself, is to sell your body, is to satisfy somebody's desires. False beliefs. They cannot come out of these beliefs. I'll give one example. I struggle with this. Every day I think, okay, I should wake up at 5 o'clock, or I think I should wake up at 7 o'clock. My small habit of sleeping late and waking up early couldn't change, how much ever I try. Imagine years of bondage, years of false belief, 20 years, 15 years of false belief. How can that change? We very easily say, oh, why can't she come out? Why is she doing this? We judge them. We don't accept them. We don't have an open mind. We don't hear their stories. A friend of mine, very interestingly, a friend of mine from Australia called me up saying, Chrysolite, I keep seeing your posts. I keep seeing your updates. What are you up to these days? I told him, this is way back in 2019. I told him I'm working on the issue of human trafficking. He's like, Chris, what are you doing? No, don't work on this issue. If you work on this issue, where will I go? What will happen to me? I'm like, and he went on to say, two people these days in 21st century cannot live under one roof. So they need extra pleasure. They need extra sources of satisfying themselves. So don't work on this issue. I was shocked. A youngster of my age, tells me this, that a family cannot run without extra sources. Now, all of this boils down to one aspect. Why are we even discussing this? Why are we even created awareness about this? What can I do? How can I help? Be the voice. When I say trafficking happens around you, When I say abuse happens around you, it is very real. And you can choose to be the voice for people around you. You can choose to talk about these issues, this injustice that happens, not just for yourself, but for people around. It can be your mother, it can be your wife, it can be your sister, it can be your friend. Sorry. So it can be for anybody around you. You got to be that voice. Sorry. Second one, be sensitive to people around you. If somebody is in trauma, with COVID times, we see a lot of mental issues. The recent case of Sushant, that's very shattering. Be sensitive. Do not judge people. Accept them the way they are. This is something that even I am trying to learn. But let us accept people the way they are. Let us be sensitive to our family members, to our friends, to our sisters around, to our mothers around us. Very important. Pay fairly. Why does human trafficking happen? Why does a auto driver or a police or a rickshaw driver shove into human trafficking? Because whatever they're earning is way too less. You pay 20 rupees, 30 rupees to a rickshaw puller. The whole day, so much of labor. How much is his earning? Maybe 100, maybe 200 per month. How much is his earning? How do you think he will be able to sustain with that little amount that he earns? So can we make the choice to pay fairly to people around us? I know most of you are still studying, but still, to whomever you think, little efforts. Can we pay fairly? Can we ask our parents to pay fairly to the maids at our home, to our people around us, to the auto driver or anybody, to vegetable vendor? Can we not bargain and pay fairly? Like we don't bargain in the branded showroom. All of you are aware of it. But we bargain when it comes to a 10 rupees coriander or 10 rupees chili powder. Can we choose not to bargain and pay fairly to them? I'm not saying don't pay them extra. Pay fairly, whatever it is worth it. And can I challenge all of you to create awareness about these issues among your friends to at least 7 people? Can you do that? Can you talk to your friend? Can you talk to your mother? Can you talk to your sister? Can you talk to your friend that is away from home? Ask them how they're doing and tell them about human trafficking. Tell them about how pornography, how it contributes to human trafficking. What do we do as friends together? Whenever we as a college days, engineering days, the best thing, birthday, any kind of party, drinking. How did most of the rapes happen? Most of them say, even Nirbhaya case, most of them say, oh, we were drunk, we were watching pornography, we were super excited, we wanted to see what we were watching, we want to experience that. As a group, as an individual, they go and rape somebody. They go kind of experiment, explore whatever they've seen on the pornography videos. So friends, can I challenge you to choose wisely what you do as an individual when you're alone and what you do as a group of friends together, as a group of people together? Our actions matter. Every action of ours matter because we are emotional, relational human beings. My action has a repercussion on somebody else. So can we choose wisely to live our lives? If not about the past, can we do that in future? Can we do that in our present? Now, All of us have plenty of time with COVID. No college, no mass bunks, don't have to do anything. Just sitting at home, relaxing, sleeping, eating good food, enjoying our times, right? But can we use this time productively where we spend the time with people around us, with our cousins, with our friends, with some maybe your housemate or your community kids, your street kids, tell them about what is good. Maybe teach them some skill, teach them something productive, something good again, huh? Very important. We kind of very excited to teach something bad, smoking. How did you learn? I learned it from my friend, I learned it from my senior. But we don't teach them good things. But can we take up that responsibility to teach people around us, to teach our younger generation something that you learned, something that you didn't realize its potential when you were young? Can we teach them? Can you mentor people? Somebody that is looking at cracking an MCET exam, somebody that wants to pursue engineering, can we mentor them? Can we mentor them in some skill, in some, in some sports skill? And can we volunteer even while we are studying? Can we take this opportunity to volunteer at our local organizations, local requirements, or maybe at an orphanage, maybe at an old age, wherever you can, whatever you think? Maybe can we plant some good trees around? Do you think all of this is possible? I worked before coming, before Red Rope or before doing social work. I was working as a recruiter. I worked as a recruiter in Qualcomm. I don't know how many of you know Qualcomm. Qualcomm is that chip that is designed Snapdragon, and it's done extremely good. And then I worked in Deloitte, I worked in Think Energy Partners, I worked in Green Connections. There are a few organizations that I support in recruitment, especially. In the process of recruitment in India, okay, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, okay, every resume has two things in common. Any guesses? Every resume has two things in common. You know what is it? Hobbies section. What are your hobbies? Oh, watching TV and listening to music. Watching TV and listening to music. I think now it would have changed to maybe Netflix, Amazon Prime, or whatever. Two, very common hobbies, especially in Andhra. Our parents stress so much on education that they give least preference to hobbies. But do you know what pays well? What gives you relaxation? What keeps you going further? Your hobbies. So may I challenge each one of you to pick up a hobby during this COVID times. It can be writing, it can be singing, it can be gardening, it can be cooking, as little as that. Can we pick up those hobbies? Instead of wasting our time, instead of, saying, oh, I don't know what to do, can we pick up some hobbies and make some productive usage of our time? And there is a saying, right? Idle mind is devil's workshop. And imagine this with me. 72 years of freedom, independence, right? We are still an underdeveloping country. When do you think we will ever become a developed nation? When do you think we can ever envision India as a developed nation? If most of us as youngsters, if we relented to sitting back at home, binge watching, binge eating, or friends and doing nothing productive. So if you want to see India as a developed nation, do you know it is in your hands? You and I can do something about it. You and I can push India to that extra notch by doing something productive. Think about it. Now, some of the toll frees that we have, 1098, any child, any minor child that you observe doing anything apart from studying, playing, please report them. Please report them. A child's fundamental right is to have fun, is to enjoy their childhood, is to study, not for abuse, not for labor, not for anything else. Now, if you notice anything for adults, there are various toll-free numbers by government. Even now, Operation Red Alert is one of our NGOs that is working again on human trafficking. This is their number that you can reach out to. Now, the other aspect of what you and I can do. As college, can we think of starting an anti-human trafficking club? This anti-human trafficking club is being pioneered by Dr. P.M. Nair. And with IJM, International Justice Mission, we want to establish anti-human trafficking clubs in colleges across Andhra. And we want this momentum to reach across India. That you youth can pick up this challenge of freeing India from being trafficked. You know, these are various various clubs. We started recently one in Stella Maris in Vijayawada, and this is Satyabama in Chennai. There are clubs that are established with IGM through PM Nair at various states. Can we pick up this challenge to establish this club in our college in BITS as well? I want to request your principal and your other professors, can we think of this idea where we can mobilize the youngsters to do something against this issue as a college, as a batch? You know what you can do? You can go find missing cases. You can do little grassroots survey for us. You could do little works that makes a huge difference for our research. We can request, you can submit these papers to the government and make a difference there as well. Now, what does this whole thing about? You know, what do you see when you look at a woman? Now, what we all discussed about what all of us can do as a college, as a community, as a family member. Now, does that solve the issue? What do you see when you look at a woman who is alone? What is our whole battle? What is our whole fight? We're not saying give us equality, give us equal rights as a woman. That's not my fight. My fight as a woman, as a social worker, is women are human beings. We got to recognize them as human beings that have those emotions and feelings, that you cannot traffic them, you cannot abuse them, you can't threaten them and emotionally blackmail them. But just recognize them as fellow human beings. Why do rapes happen? Oh, rapes happen because the way she is dressing. Rapes happen because the way she was talking. Rapes happen because of her behavior. But is that the truth? Think about it. And friends, pre-marriage sex, sex without marriage, sex out of the boundary of marriage. For now, it is all exciting. But trust me, it leaves you with a lot of guilt. Boyfriends force saying that, oh, you don't love me? Okay. Fine, that's why you're not kissing me. That's why we are not having fun. Can we have a little fun? For a man, it can be sex, but for a woman, it can never be sex. Then it is done out of force. And when you do, even with mutual consent, outside the walls of marriage, it always leaves you with a lot of guilt, lot of shame, and lot of internal trauma. Think about it. Yeah, we are not commodities. You know, all are, if any movie, low budget movie or any movie that needs a little hype, needs a little high uh, views or high rate in the market, you know what do they do? Item song. Bring some Sunny Leon, bring some Mumaid Khan, put an item song. Who is an item in that song, in that movie? A girl. So are we women are items? Are we commodities? क्या चीज है जैसे, क्या माल है जैसे? Are we commodities? Now, is our fight only for only for women? Help me ration this. When does a lion hunt? Does a lion hunt when there are when there is a herd of deer? When does it hunt? Most of them, they say, oh, human beings and animals are same. Yeah, I think they are same in this one aspect. A lion hunts only when a deer is alone. Similarly, what comes to your mind when you see a person that is alone, when a girl that is alone, when an old man that is in need of help, when a girl or when a woman is begging on the streets, what do you see? Do you see her? Oh, I can kill her, or I can rape her, or I can abuse him, or I can steal from him. Do we see our own selfish usage on them? What do you see? So friends, it's no more, human trafficking is not the issue of the government that they should deal with. It's not the issue of academic institutions, or it's not the issue of NGOs to work something towards it. It all boils down to each individual. What do you see? What do you see when you see a person in need? It all boils down to one question. What is your thought? What's running in here? So our fight is not for women alone. It is for human. It is for each individual that they should live a life of dignity. They shouldn't be forced into doing something. Yes, I want to leave this time for any questions. Any of the participants, any questions on this topic or on what we discussed on HTCs or anything? Any comments, any suggestions?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, hi.
Hi, ma'am. I'm G. Fanikumar Reddy, training coordinator from this Kurnool. Hi, ma'am. You have given the best information regarding this trafficking of girl child. But one thing I want to know is we have to find the remedies, ma'am, to avoid these type of happenings.
Yeah.
I think that is the most important thing. We have to inform all the youngsters how to overcome about these issues. Is there any type of government? We have to find out some rules. Government has established some rules.
While government,
like
while NGOs are doing their part, okay, all that we are saying is, you as youngsters, you as an individual, what can you do? Yeah, government has come up with policies, laws, they're working on it. NGOs are working on this issue. But I, as an individual, what can you do? These are the stuff that you can do. What can you do as a college?
Okay,
that's what we're discussing.
Okay. After this, we will try to form a group of the people, and we want to fight against this.
Yes.
Issues, in future, and we'll try to fight always against these issues.
Yes.
and I request all my Beats girls to ask any queries, ma'am.
Sure. Thanks, Funny. Yes. Anyone have any other questions or suggestions or comments?
Hello, madam.
Hi.
This is Shivani.
Hi, Shivani.
Madam, how you are doing by this club to like to against with this?
Yeah.
We can
So
know, or when you in your program, we know that.
yes. So what we want to request BITS College is if we can establish one of these clubs in your college, so that we form a club, and through this club we do various activities. Activities can be working with Childline. Okay. Activities can be, look at this picture. This college students are going and finding out if there is any girl child, or if there is any woman, or if there is any man that is alone, or that looks stranded, that looks lost, or is begging. Can we go and find out their details? Can we find if there are any migrating workers that are being in bondage working in this college? Or I'm sorry, not in the college, in your own city or in your own town. So we have formed some of the activities that each club can do or each member can do. Can we work with the government, with the police department in finding out some of the missing cases? So there are some activities that we can do. So our request, for your colleges, can we establish an anti-human trafficking club in your college, so that through your college, through this club, we can create a momentum in Kurnool, and we can create that awareness in various other places in Kurnool to take this forward. Our vision that every house should be aware of human trafficking, should be aware and should be prevented from human trafficking.
Okay, madam. If we find anyone like that child which is suffering from that problem, in which manner you will help to them?
So if you
Can we know about that?
Yes, if you find a child that is lost, okay, you can call up 1098. 1098 is a nationwide toll-free number. That means any child across India, whomever you find stranded, whomever you find begging or doing some work, you can call them up. What they will do, they will first come and check the child. Okay, they will do a survey. They will analyze what is happening, and then they will take that child to child welfare committee. Okay, and they will start a report and they will start a case on that child. They will do analysis of or a survey of who the child's parents, where is she from, why is she here, what is the relationship between the child and the employer. They do all of that survey, and during this survey or during this case study, they kind of put this child in child welfare committee homes. There are CWC homes, they put them there, they shelter them, and then they find what is the best solution for the child. Is the best solution to send home? Is the best solution to put them in an orphanage or put them in a government home? They take a apt decision and then they take it forward from there. Does
Okay,
that
madam.
answer you?
Okay. Human trafficking is not only for girls, and this is for child labor also, right?
Yes, child labor also falls under human trafficking.
Not only for girls, for boys also. Will this help?
Yes, for any boy. That's why we didn't say girl helpline. It says child helpline.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for
Yeah.
your information.
Yes, human trafficking, friends, I want to stress again, it is not on women alone. It is for a man, it is for a boy as well. All of us are vulnerable.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Hello, madam. Hello, madam. Myself is Abdul Ghani, madam.
Hi.
Madam, I have a few questions regarding your information, madam.
Okay.
As my friend Shivani said now, I'm able to see some of, not only children, madam, I'm able to see some of the young and youth who are wandering on the roads without any jobs like this. I think, and I think so that they are forced to beg. How can we be able to help them, madam?
I'm sorry. Did you say you're able to see women also on the roads without jobs?
No, madam, not only women, madam. I can see youth and the people, old age people who are wandering on roads,
Okay.
like of women and men,
Okay.
where they are
There are
wandering on the roads
okay.
without
There
jobs,
are
and I think they are forced to beg.
okay. There are organizations that work for rat pickers. There are organizations that work for old age people, old age homes. You can connect with them. So that's what. If we form a club, what we can do is we can form a exhaustive list of organizations that are working in Kurnool, right? And then like Child Helpline, we can make this helplines more popular and spread it across Kurnool. So anytime and anywhere, if you find a girl child, if you find a person, if you find a man that is stranded, you can always approach them. That's what we want to do through these clubs as well, to bridge that gaps, to see how we can actually ensure that none of the child or none of the person is on the road stranded.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam.
Yeah, so one of my friends is asking, what do you do when you're in danger? How do you seek help, right? If something is happening, first thing, when you're in danger, voice out, tell people. If you're being abused, even by a family member, that's okay, go report it. They may not stand with you, but your inner peace, your life matters. And you can't keep silent. You know what happens when you keep silent? The trafficking or abuse kind of increases, aggravates. If not for you, it happens on somebody else. So your silence doesn't solve the problem. Your silence actually aggravates the problem. So that's why it's very important that you go and report this incidents. Okay, and you're walking alone. What happens when you're walking alone and somebody's trying to abuse you? The best tool that each one of us have, voice. Shout as loudly as possible. Call for help. Seek attention. Most of the kidnapping cases, why did they happen? They happen because girls especially, they are not sensitive to the environment they are around. They walk on the roads without lifting their head, or they're not noticing what is happening around them. They just go blindly. Okay, that's not right. You got to know where you are, how you are, who is following you, who is behind you, or where is the hospital, where is the police station. You got to be alert. You got to be aware of the situations. If at all you're in danger, you can rush to these places. Right? Do not accept unknown Facebook or social media requests. Do not click a link that says, oh, you won $1 crore or 1 lakh rupees. Do not click on those links. Why? Those are phishing attacks. There can be a ransomware attack or some virus that can come into your system because of clicking that link. How much ever possible, don't put all your Facebook, all your personal information on Facebook. Be alert. Be wise in what you do. Okay? Any other questions? Yeah, even during COVID times, right? Thank you, Shrikant Gaud sir, for saying that. Even during COVID times, can we do little help by creating awareness in people and communities around us? If there are any migrating workers or if there are any daily wage workers or laborers around you, can you tell them not to take money on loan? And if they are taking money on loan, not to give in to any of the financiers' request? Yes, somebody has raised their hand. Any other questions? Gopal, do you have a question?
Hello?
Yes, hi.
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. You said about the clubs functioning regarding this human trafficking protection.
Yes.
So, do you have any such a club in Chennai?
Yes, we do
So
have
we
clubs.
can do some voluntary works with them.
Okay, yeah, we do have clubs. Please
Okay.
leave your number so that we will get in
Okay.
touch with you. Or please take your number that's on the chat.
Okay.
We do have clubs. We have clubs in Satyabama College and other colleges. I don't remember, but we do have clubs in Chennai. If not from Red Rock, but other organizations.
In this club, anyone can be participate.
Usually it's the college students, but if you're interested, we can see on how you can volunteer there.
Okay.
Yeah.
In what way you link with churches and Christian organizations if they want to do some voluntary work with you?
Oh yes, we are open to host a lot of awareness sessions where we can give ideas on how each community can come up with some aspect that they can work with. You know, we can give them ideas on how they can do a small skill program in their own community. We can give ideas on how they can engage their women or youth and create awareness. Yes, we can do that. Please get in touch with us so that we can take
Okay.
this forward.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? If not, I think we will move on.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
I'm Pranam, ma'am. Human rights in traffical, ma'am. Some small peoples are like labor works, ma'am. Labor works, ma'am.
Yes. You can ask
That
in
was
Telugu.
అంటే మ్యామ్ కొంచెం చిన్న పిల్లలు సరిపోకుండా వాళ్ళకి లేబర్ వర్క్ చేపిస్తా ఉంటారు మ్యామ్. దేని వల్ల చేపిస్తాను ఊరికి ఎట్లా మ్యామ్?
Okay. Why labor work? You know.
Yes, ma'am.
Say suppose I am a very low income person. The moment anybody gets married, you know what happens in marriage? 1 year they have a child. Within a year they have a child. Before they realize they have 2-3 children. But what happens? One person earning money, 4 families living on that one person. And what does this one person do? Daily wage labor. How much does he earn per day? 500. So how can he feed all of them? So what do? Though there are government schemes, though there is Amma Badi in Andhra, okay, what do? Nana, can you please go work? They push them to work. Why? Because one person, 3 children, 2 children, how much do they earn? 500, 250,000 rupees per day. That's why.
Okay.
It's more because of livelihood. It's more because of lack of employment opportunities. It's more because of dignity of labor. Labor are not paid as much as they are to be, and hence child labor increases. Also, there are some factories, exclusive factories like Bangle factory, that kind of give importance to hiring only children. And also this Diwali crackers, right? They only hire children. Why? Because their hands are so small, it is very easy for them to mold things. Like the bangle, it's very easy for them to mold a bangle. Hence, they hire only children. But why do parents send them? Parents send them because they want extra money. and this father may have some gudka habit or may have some alcohol habit. So 500, 200 is gone in their alcohol, in their gudka or smoking. What is the extra money, right?
Yes,
That's why. That's the main crux of the issue. Child labor increases only because parents do not have enough income source.
okay.
Thanks for asking
Ma'am?
that question. Yes.
మ్యామ్ గవర్నమెంట్ వాళ్ళు కూడా రూల్స్ అసలు ఒప్పుకోదు మ్యామ్ అట్లా.
Yeah. So that's why nobody does child labor kullam kullam. Child marriages happens in India, are happening in Telangana, happening in Andhra, but it doesn't happen kullam kullam, right? It doesn't happen in the open. They do not invite everybody. What do? They traffic them. They put them in some unknown, hidden areas where no public or no person gets in, and they work there. Agriculture labor, they go along with the parents. So who can question? If some government official come, they pay them, they bribe them. You know, see, there are loopholes in everything. But what we are saying is, can we be cautious about my action? We can't take care of everything around the world. But can we start the change with myself? Can I be the change first? Looking at me, can my friends pick up that change? Can we take a challenge? Can we take a oath saying that no, I don't want to watch porn videos? Looking at me, can my friends also take a oath not to watch porn videos? That is the moment that we are talking about. Can it come from each individual? And can it percolate, create that ripple effect around us? Okay?
ఓకే మ్యామ్. మ్యామ్ ఇంకా ఇప్పుడు దానివల్ల కొంచెం చదివించవచ్చు మ్యామ్. మన మామూలుగా అంతా తిట్టడం కొట్టడం తప్పుగా మామూలు చదివించదు, కొంచెం చదివిస్తే వాళ్ళు కూడా కొంచెం నాలెడ్జబుల్ ఉంటుంది. లేకపోతే నాలెడ్జబుల్ లేక వాళ్ళు కష్టాలు పడుతున్నారు మ్యామ్. కొంచెం చదివిస్తే ఒక థింక్ ఉంటుంది మ్యామ్ కొంచెం.
Yes. So that's why we want you to go into those people and create that awareness to them.
Okay.
We want people like Pranav to be our hands and legs and mouth, go into that communities where there are marginalized people, where there are daily wage workers, and tell them, uncle, bhaiya, anna, don't send your children to work. Send them to educate themselves. That's what we want you to do through this trafficking clubs, anti-human trafficking clubs.
ఓకే ఓకే, థ్యాంక్స్ మ్యామ్.
Thank you.
ఓకే.
Anybody else? Okay. So with that, I want to move on to my last closing comments. There are a few, but still. Can you be the voice? Can you be the voice for your friends, for yourself, for your family members? If you are in need, can you please get help? Don't suffocate yourself. Seek help. Even if it is mental issue, physical issue, emotional issue, please seek help. Be it of any issue. If nobody on this planet Earth is helping you, please reach out to me. I can stand with you. I can do everything on anything that I can do within my own limits to just stand with you and be with you. Please seek help. Our organization is always there. Even if my organization limits fall off, I am there. So please seek help, right? And report trafficking. If you see any kind of trafficking, any kind of sexual exploitation, abuse, rapes, please report them. Because by reporting, you are saving somebody else. Because they may be scared to report, to voice out their own feelings. Maybe because they are asked to shut their mouth. But if you are noticing your friend being abused by somebody, can you please go and report that? First to your family members. If your family doesn't give in, to your college, to your school. If your school, college doesn't give in, maybe to the police. If police don't accept, maybe to the SHE teams. Or maybe to those groups that work against all of these issues. Please report them. Yeah, let's act responsible. Let's be cautious of our every action, every thought. These are our social handles. Please go like our page. We have a national symposium on anti-human trafficking planned on July 30th. So we want to give you that invitation to come and join us, learn more about human trafficking, and see how you and I can fight this issue in building our vision. Our vision is to build India, to free India from human trafficking, to free India from slavery. That's our vision. Can I request all of you to partner with us in envisioning this vision, in reaching this vision for India, for us, for our younger generation, for our future? With that, I leave this on you. Thank you so much for tuning in, for listening, and for being there for those questions. I thank all the college professors, students, and I also want to thank Ramanaya Garu for giving us this opportunity in establishing this connect. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, with this, we end our discussion. If you have anything else to share, we're more than happy to pick them up. Otherwise, we're good to go. Everybody's so silent. Thank you, Shrikant. Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you, Rajkumar.
Antukumar Reddy garu. Ma'am, Antukumar Reddy garu also.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Your voice is very less, feeble.
Sorry, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
I'm very thankful, ma'am. You have given the best information regarding this thing, and I'm very congratulating to all my colleagues and business students. Thank you so much for giving this
Thank you
opportunity.
so much. Yes, thank you, Preeti, for those comments.